Today, Pepsi is one of the most recognizable brands in the world. Every day, millions of people enjoy the company's products, and its annual revenue exceeds $80 billion. However, few people know that Pepsi was on the verge of bankruptcy several times before achieving this success. The story of this company is one of incredible resilience, creativity, and perseverance. How did Pepsi survive in such a competitive environment and become a global industry giant? In this video, we'll trace the amazing journey of Pepsi, from early bankruptcies to worldwide domination. The story of Pepsi begins in 1893 in the small town of New Bern, North Carolina, USA. It was here that pharmacist Caleb Bradham began creating a drink that would eventually change the world of soft drinks. In the late 19th century, carbonated beverages were considered healthy and were sold in pharmacies as tonics. Bradham decided to join this trend and started experimenting with recipes. After many trials and errors, he created a drink that was originally named Brad's Drink. It was a simple mix of sugar, water, caramel, cola nuts, and lemon oil. The drink quickly became popular among local residents. Customers kept coming back for this refreshing mix. Seeing the success of his creation, Bradham decided to expand production and gave the drink a new name, Pepsi-Cola. The name Pepsi comes from the enzyme pepsin. As Bradham believed, his drink helped with digestion. Despite the popularity of the product in New Bern's pharmacies, Bradham knew he needed to go further. In the early 1900s, he made a move toward mass production and regional sales. Bradham opened several factories and began working with distributors to make Pepsi more accessible. It's important to note that at the time, competition among soft drink manufacturers was extremely fierce. However, Pepsi stood out because of its unique flavor and positioning as a digestion aid. Bradham actively participated in developing marketing strategies and launched the first national advertising campaign in Pepsi's history, a bold move for a small manufacturer. The Pepsi-Cola Company was officially registered in 1902. Bradham began selling syrup to produce the drink nationwide, opening factories and signing deals with distributors. By 1910, Pepsi was sold in more than 24 states in the U.S. However, World War I dealt a serious blow to the company. During wartime, raw material prices, especially sugar, were highly unstable. Bradham bet on increasing sugar stocks, expecting prices to rise, but that move turned out to be a mistake. In 1921, sugar prices plummeted and Pepsi incurred enormous losses. The company couldn't handle the financial pressure and declared bankruptcy in 1923. This moment in Pepsi's history is especially interesting because it almost didn't happen. In 1922, and again in 1933, when Pepsi was on the verge of financial collapse, the company's leadership offered Coca-Cola the opportunity to buy their business. The first time, Coca-Cola declined, believing they didn't need competitors. In 1933, when Pepsi was once again in a critical situation, Coca-Cola turned down the purchase offer again. This was a fateful decision that could have permanently shifted the balance in the market. However, Coca-Cola underestimated its rival, and Pepsi soon proved to be a worthy competitor. Despite the bankruptcy, the Pepsi brand did not disappear from the market. Over the next few years, the company changed owners several times until it was bought by Loft Inc. in 1931, under the leadership of Charles Guth. Loft initially specialized in candy and drinks, and Guth saw potential in Pepsi. He decided to use the brand to develop his business and changed the recipe to make the drink sweeter and more accessible to a wider audience. Additionally, Guth made a crucial marketing decision. He started selling Pepsi in larger bottles, 12 ounces for 5 cents. This was twice the volume of the leading competitor Coca-Cola, which offered 6 ounces for the same price. This marketing move turned out to be brilliant. During the Great Depression, when every cent mattered, consumers eagerly chose Pepsi as the more economical option. The slogan, "Twice as much for a nickel," quickly became popular and helped Pepsi regain its audience. It was during this period that the famous jingle "Nickel Nickel" appeared, becoming the first radio ad jingle broadcast across the country. When World War II began, many companies were forced to adapt to new conditions. Pepsi decided to show patriotism and changed the colors of its logo to red, white, and blue to match the American flag. During this time, the company also launched the successful Your Man in Service campaign, allowing soldiers to record audio messages for their families, maintaining an emotional connection between the front lines and home. This helped strengthen the brand's loyalty among Americans and allowed Pepsi to reach a new level. However, after the war, Pepsi faced a new challenge. In 1950, Alfred Steele, a former vice president of Coca-Cola, took over as the company's CEO. Under his leadership, Pepsi focused on global expansion and increasing advertising budgets. Steele attracted the famous actress Joan Crawford to become the face of the company. Under his guidance, Pepsi's sales increased 11-fold. This was the beginning of the company's transformation from a mere beverage into an international brand. One of the key elements of this transformation was the development of new advertising formats. Pepsi heavily invested in television ads, which allowed them to reach new audiences and expand their reach. During this time, Pepsi began using celebrities to promote the brand, which became a hallmark of their marketing strategy. In the 1960s, a real Cold War began between the two largest soft drink brands, Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Despite Coca-Cola's market dominance for over half a century, Pepsi decisively entered the fight for the youth audience. It was during this period that the legendary Pepsi, the Choice of a New Generation campaign was launched, shifting the focus to young people. The marketing strategy was built on the idea that Pepsi was the drink for those seeking novelty and change, while Coca-Cola was seen as something traditional and outdated. One of the boldest marketing moves of the time was the so-called Pepsi Challenge. These were blind taste tests where people were asked to try two drinks, Pepsi and Coca-Cola, without knowing which was which. The results surprised many. Most people preferred the taste of Pepsi. This experiment caused real shock at Coca-Cola and forced the company to reconsider its marketing strategies. One of Pepsi's key steps toward success was its merger with Frito-Lay in 1965. This gave birth to a new giant, PepsiCo, which now controlled not only the beverage market, but also the production of popular snacks such as Lay's, Doritos, and Cheetos. This move allowed the company to diversify its products and reduce its dependence on beverage sales. In the following years, PepsiCo continued to actively acquire brands like Mountain Dew, Tropicana, and Gatorade, allowing the company to become a leader in various market segments. Pepsi didn't stop there. In 1974, the company made another historic move, becoming the first American corporation to enter the Soviet market. During the Cold War, Pepsi managed to negotiate with the Soviet government to supply its products. In exchange, the USSR paid with Stolichnaya vodka since Soviet rubles were not accepted on the international market. This unique barter deal made Pepsi a major player in the Soviet market, while Coca-Cola remained on the sidelines. This move symbolized how business could serve as a bridge between countries even in times of political tension. For Pepsi, this wasn't just market expansion. It was a sign of readiness to be a global player, despite any barriers. By the 1980s, Pepsi had become one of the most powerful brands in the world. Campaigns featuring Michael Jackson and promoting the drink through music and youth culture made Pepsi a favorite among the new generation. PepsiCo continued to strengthen its position in the global market by conducting aggressive advertising campaigns and expanding its product range. Pepsi always managed to stay on top of current trends and use them to promote its brand. One of the most striking examples was the contract with Michael Jackson in 1984. Pepsi used his popularity to launch a massive advertising campaign that literally exploded the market. Later, Pepsi continued to collaborate with other pop culture icons like Britney Spears and Beyoncé, helping the company strengthen its position among young people. Pepsi actively used music and art to promote its product, distinguishing itself from the more conservative Coca-Cola. PepsiCo didn't just focus on marketing campaigns, it also executed a smart financial strategy. One of the company's key moves was investing in product diversification. PepsiCo didn't limit itself to beverages, but expanded its influence in the snack market by acquiring companies like Frito-Lay and Quaker Oats. This allowed PepsiCo to reduce its dependence on fluctuations in the beverage market and stabilize its growth. The financial strategy also included active expansion into emerging markets such as China, Latin America, and Africa, allowing the company to become one of the largest players on the global stage. Today, PepsiCo remains one of the largest companies in the world. It owns more than 23 brands, including Lay's, Quaker, Gatorade, and many others. The company continues to adapt to modern challenges by offering new products with reduced sugar content and healthier alternatives to traditional drinks. Pepsi is also actively investing in sustainability and eco-friendly technologies to reduce its environmental impact. The story of Pepsi is a fascinating tale of how a company overcame many challenges, from several bankruptcies to global scandals, and became one of the largest brands in the world. It's a story of how persistence, creativity, and boldness can lead to incredible success, even when the odds seem slim. From its humble beginnings in Caleb Bradham's pharmacy to its transformation into a global giant, Pepsi has always been a symbol of innovation and resilience. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss more exciting stories about business and great brands.